Call to order the Finance and Audit Committee meeting for July 8th, 2025. Ms. Cindy, can we get a roll call, please?
Sir. Mr. Anthony?
Here.
Mr. Piazza? I know he's here. Mr. Toller?
Here.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Present.
All right, item 2A is to consider approval to renew the student accident policy with Powell and Associates. Mr. McNeely.
All right, Mr. Powell is here if you have any questions tonight. This policy is the student accident policy that covers athletes and any extracurricular activities, field trips, any of that kind of stuff. The policy renewal rate is $79,956, but we are recommending to add felonious assault coverage. And this is if one of our students is in an activity and there's a felony committed against them, then the insurance kicks in. So if we have some type of school violence while they're at a football game, while they're
It
at...
has to be a felony?
Yes.
So it wouldn't cover school fights?
So a school fight happens on campus, so they don't have coverage for that anyway. The coverage they have, if that, is the voluntary coverage, and I do want to talk about that a little bit. We have a very low participation rate of our families taking advantage of this coverage for $28 a year. We want to try to make sure to push that information out, and if you would help us, for $28 a year, they then do have coverage if a child gets hurt on the playground, gets into, as part of a fight or something at school. But that's only if the parents pay the $28 to add that coverage. Otherwise, this only covers extracurricular activities. Now, it does cover on campus, on our own campus. It's not just if they travel. If the cheerleaders are having practice and somebody gets hurt at practice, this is part of that coverage. And Henry, you bail me out if I say anything that's, okay. So why don't you come on up here since you're such a...
We have a,
I have a question.
this is here from Mr. Powell.
I have a question.
Okay.
Don't have it. Can we get a motion in a second?
Yeah, can we get a,
I'll go ahead and motion.
all right, motion by Mr. Piazza. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Toller.
I got one question. So this would cover in the event any kid, if you paid the $28, any kid could cash in on this as to cover any health scare at all. So if I'm sitting on the bench and a fight breaks out, I get knocked over the bench, get a big dash in my head, this covers it.
So it's not unlimited benefit, but yes, it does assist them with the treatment. Yes.
How much is this to cover out of pocket? Like, I don't think there's a cap on how many per kid you can have, but like, is this something the district could eat if we had to? Like, what is that number?
The $28?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. That's,
28 times 18,000.
yeah, 18,000 students.
But I'm saying, could we add that into like maybe their fee that they pay at the beginning of the year?
If not voluntary, add $28 to
Correct.
their fee.
Correct.
We possibly, but we're only getting about a 30 to 40% collection of that fee right now. So we're working to try to get more people paying their fee. And so we're working as the administration to try to come up with how to ensure everyone is paying their fee.
I mean, look, it's a great deal,
Yeah.
Joey.
$28.
But I think we have 4 people maybe that enrolled in it. So I don't think it's getting communicated to them.
Right.
But it's a $250,000 benefit that can stack up over the certain different types of treatments and injuries. I mean, it is a really good benefit.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's a great thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a phone call and said, oh, my little Susie fell off the jungle gym and broke her arm. Now I got to go bring her and get an x-ray when this could cover it. And the only thing I'm asking is, like, could we add it in? Because what I don't want to happen is it get really confusing and say, okay, I got this kid who's got it, this kid who don't. We got to figure out who has it and who don't. Whereas if we put it and said, hey, we're going to cover all our kids, we're going to put it into our fees. But I get where Mr. McNeely's coming from. If we're at 40%, that's a big bite we're taking off the
That number's
apple.
$500,000, and so if we have to pay 60% of that, that's $300,000
Yeah.
the district would have to pay.
Yeah, that's a little strict. Yeah.
I just think it's a communication thing that nobody knows about, you know, but again, for $28,
And they pay that at their school, or they pay that through the central office?
They will be able to pay that through their portal, their cashless portal, or they can, right? Like I said, there's only had 4 people that have.
ever
But
done
we
it.
get a lot of phone calls with people saying,
All the
my
time.
child was in a fight.
All the time.
And was part of playing on the playground and the kid pushed him down. What are you going to do? We have no coverage for that. If they're playing football and get hurt, we have coverage for that. If they're cheering and get hurt, we have coverage for that. That's what the first part of this is. The second is voluntary, and we just refer the parents and say, there's a voluntary policy that is offered.
But once they know about it, it's too late.
Yeah.
And it could impede some litigation, you know, if someone got hurt and they wanted y'all to pay for their bills or whatever. I mean, but again, if you try to do it through the fees, when 60% don't pay or whatever, and you're on the line, and then someone gets left out of it and they get hurt and don't have coverage, but this kid does, I mean, it probably gets into a pretty hairy situation.
Yeah. Because like I said, I think every kid benefits from this. I wish everybody would pay their $28. Because, I mean,
For that price.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not the chairman, so.
Mr. Trent,
Yes, go ahead.
So the second line here says 24-hour K through 12, $124. That's also an option of this basic same, they can have insurance after hours?
That'd be all the time accident insurance.
But they would pay that $124
Correct.
themselves, right? So it
Correct.
sounds like one of them new positions we just created, this might
Homestead
need to
Outfit.
fall into their category to notify people they can buy insurance.
And make sure they put where they can pay their money to.
And then
how
I
to
guess
do
it would go in their, it could go in their school cume folder or whatever, that they have this insurance if something happens. That way we would know who has it.
And I will say, the most utilized policy in this school system that we offer is the accident policy. You have a lot of employees who have it, and it's the most utilized policy. So it does work out. But again, for the $28, it's almost a no-brainer, but I don't think anybody's getting the message.
So what happens if mid-year you get a student transfer in? Are they able to sign in at that point? But nobody, if they've already kid in our system, if they don't sign up in the sign-up time, then they're not allowed to sign up, just like us
That's
for
my
insurance?
understanding,
Okay.
right. And especially after it happens, they're not going to pay.
Yeah. But if it's
Now, I
a
have a
new
question when
student,
you get a minute. I'm looking at this option to include felonious assault coverage. Can we look at that clause? Because an assault is not a battery. And an assault is when you think you're going to get a battery. So, and a felony assault would require like a gun or something of that nature.
So, Mr. Westmoreland, I think certainly you would know more about that than us.
That's why I'm asking you.
But it's my understanding that if like a fight were to break out, say at a basketball game, and the court gets stormed and these kids are out there and the cheerleaders and one of them gets injured, there would be an additional coverage. Or if a fight breaks out like at a football game and somebody takes their helmet off and nails somebody.
Again, those are batteries, and I'm just wondering if the definition is it purely an assault, or is it a battery, or is it a combination of them? Because the assaults are less likely to occur, the batteries will occur.
So Mr. Powell is here tonight covering for the other Mr. Powell, who will be here next week.
He's enjoying himself right now.
So if the committee would push this forward, then before you adopt as the board, Mr. Austin Powell is going to be here next week, and we'll have that question.
And if maybe he can email us the,
I can have that answer for you.
provision?
Yes, sir.
then we'll be able to discuss that.
And in the meantime, while we're doing that, can we also get like a cheat sheet so that way we have something to pump out to the public? Hey, here's what it is, here's how much it costs, and here's how you sign up. Here's where you pay.
In your packet, there's a letter to the parents, and then there's also a brochure after it.
Okay.
So
Perfect. I didn't
that's
see
the
that.
letter,
part.
and
Thank
then
you.
after that is the packet. So you have all that information.
While Mr. Powell is looking, I have a question myself. So I know last year, I think we paid the entire insurance policy, so that $80,000 or the $91,000 if you add the assault coverage. What we're doing right now is we're paying that for every single student, and then we're putting it into the dues in hopes that we collect it via the student fee every year, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There's a $5 of the student fee goes to pay this amount.
Got it.
And anything that we're short, the district makes up that difference. In the past, I think the football team, like basically athletes paid $40.
Right.
And that paid most of it. But when we found out, wait, this coverage is for field trips, it's for beta convention, it's for anything that they're doing, so then we just spread it out and charged everyone instead of just the athletes having to pay for all of it.
Spreading that cost around is actually more beneficial for any student that participates in anything. So
Yep.
obviously, it's more affordable, so that's really good. Do we have any other questions or comments? No other questions, Ms. Cindy, we can call for vote.
Voting is open. Motion carries.
All right. Item B is the sales tax update. Mr. McNeely.
Thank you, Mr. Powell.
All right, great news on sales tax. For our final month of the year, the EFID was up 6.89%. So for the year, we were up 3.2%. So I'm gonna stay with my hope that after we had the COVID and the IDA bump, that it was not a bubble, and it's actually created a new line that we're now, and you'll see this on the next one in just a second. We're back to the 4.5% trend. The EFID tax is a little different. Mr. Anthony, you asked at the last meeting about the EFID fund balance. So the next slide actually shows the orange is actual. So that's the balance of the EFID fund. So you see it was growing, going up significantly. And then the first year, November of 2023, we paid the stipend, and you see the line come down. And then for the rest of that year, the balance kind of went up. And then in November of 24, you see it drop. And now it's trending kind of up again. And then the blue line is the projection. So if we were to increase that stipend, it would greatly cause it to decrease much faster than we want it to. So at the current levels and projections, we should stay above that 4 million line for another 3 years. And as we continue to have growth in the parish, we continue to have shop at home, we continue to have inflation as part of it as well. Hopefully that balance will cover and not go below the 4 million.
Gotcha.
So that's what that's showing. The last page is the actual 2-cent sales tax summary. And if you see at the bottom,
Oh, goodness.
we wound up at 4.4% for the year. I've been in parish government and now school board for 32 years. And over that period, if you took a 4% trend line from when the parish first started their sales tax and drew that 4% trend line, when you had Katrina, it went up and then it went down, but it didn't go below that trend line. It hit that trend line and it started going. And you have another storm or some event, it would go up and it would come back down. For the first time since 21 and 22, it went up, and instead of coming back down, it's now it went up, and then it's kind of hitting a 4.5% trend line. So I think that's the state capturing the online sales. I think that through COVID, people learned to do a lot of online and home shopping, and so our money's not going to New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Covington as much anymore. And we've had significant inflation, which causes sales tax to be more. So there's a lot of things going on, but I think that is where we are. But I did, for the 25-26 budget a 2% increase, because I'm still pretty conservative on growth, but I am very optimistic seeing that we're back to that 4.5% year-over-year growth that I've seen for 30 years.
December is a really good month.
Which one?
December. That's a
Yeah, I
good
wonder
one.
why.
If we keep that trend going, the 15, I think we'll be good.
All right. Is there any other board member questions or comments? All right. With no other business before the Finance Committee, this meeting is adjourned.